Hello, my name is Samantha Klose and welcome to my EDB150 assessment item 3. Throughout the semester before professional experience, students of EDB150 engage in a marking and quality assurance process designed to develop our understanding of the moderation processes. In groups of 5 to 6, we individually mark samples from our discipline units before converging to moderate and discuss the gradings we had assigned. My group members included Emily Duncan, Fletcher Coates, Madeline Brooks, Natalie Honery, and Rebecca Cribble. We marked the English samples in which students were asked to respond to theme statements through the essay format based on the film The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and The Boy on Top of the Mountain. The process of marking and quality assurance allows for educators to make fair, consistent, and defensible judgments of achievement for all students in the classroom. The process is designed to ensure all students have access to equitable marking guides, making certain that these students are graded fairly and equitably. Prior to the collaborative quality assurance meeting, we established goals involving the implementation of a rule that any discussions that arose in disagreement would be addressed as creative abrasion, often coined as innovation through diversity of thought, thus meaning that any disagreements surrounding a certain grade or students' workings would be dealt with in a professional manner through discussion and thought. This professional discussion highlights the first step of the quality assurance process, defined as establishing expectations in which teachers are to have a clear understanding of the purpose, which is to ensure fair, consistent, and defensible judgments about student achievement. This establishing stage also involves the development of effective quality assurance, which is based on professional respect, shared responsibility, open-mindedness, and professional communication. Throughout the marking and quality assurance meeting, we address the second step of quality assurance through continually checking and ensuring consistent understanding of the differences and accessible elements through not only delving into the task itself together, but also the criteria. The third step of quality assurance is to both compare samples and to resolve ratings to reach a general consensus. This consensus is achieved through a few small steps within the one step, these being linking evidence to samples of standards, comparing and discussing differences in teacher judgments, and step 3, reaching a consensus, and if unresolved, another person is to be involved in reaching the consensus. In our quality assurance meeting, I was faced with making alterations to some of my grades I had initially awarded to the samples, and this alteration came as a result of my group members presenting their gradings and justifiable, defensible arguments for these grades.
Oh, I gave it a B.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to lean down there now.
It's just mostly, I think it's the second paragraph, like the second and I think that's just not
The
second and
paragraph,
third paragraph.
the paragraphs are also quite lengthy. Like
They
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
They're not very succinct.
Yeah. So like for me,
But
that's kind of
Ah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like but you could have shortened your sentences and gotten to the point and finished that point.
But is that a bit too much to expect from an 8th grader? Like being
Well, we're going
tough.
We're going back to Peel though. That is genuinely that 4-sentence sort of structure sort of thing, and they've just like rambled, like they've put too much.
They've also done two conclusions because I was like,
Yeah,
surely there is something, but they have. It's almost like that could be connected. They just didn't know how to connect it.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of finished that and thought that was the end, and I looked at that and was like, hold on.
Yeah, exactly. And both are effective, but
I do find it tough to drop this person below an A-.
No, I'm pretty comfortable with
Let's
giving him a B for that point.
sustained use of conventional, mostly effective use.
I think it's mostly effective. I don't think it's sustained use.
I could call it mostly like quite effective, like maybe a B+, but because they do like at the end of the day, the majority of it maybe it runs on a little, but grade 8, and it's all there, it's all well put out, and then the conclusion thing is kind of the kicker, punting them down a bit, but I would still put that as a B+.
I feel like an A student would structure that much better, even in year 8.
Yeah. That could be rewritten.
Yeah. Yeah. They haven't edited it. They haven't edited that.
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with a B+?
Yeah. B plus, but
See,
I wouldn't give it
Yeah,
any
no,
more.
I agree. I would drop down to a B plus, but
Yeah.
No, it's not an
drop
A.
to a B.
Yeah, it's not an A.
Especially
B plus?
considering we keep the D student as
Yeah.
a B almost. Like
Yeah.
we were this close.
Essential B plus.
The last step of quality assurance is feedback in Feed Forward, in which educators engage in a reflective conversation regarding the generals of the quality assurance process. My group members and I were able to reflect on the process of quality assurance, touching on both the positives and negatives of the experience outside of the recording as we had run out of time. Whilst on my professional experience block this semester, I was able to experience moderation on several differing occasions, and I observed the main differences between professional educators and the students of EDB150. Teachers from my PEC school bring samples ranging from an A to E standard responses to ensure that grading across all achievement bands is standardized. And once all these teachers have individually marked their classes' assessment pieces, they are cross-marked and moderated with 5 teachers from the same faculty in one big quality assurance meeting. Once the teachers have established their final grades, they are passed on to the head of department for that specific faculty, who cross-checks these marks and finalizes these grades. This is quite different from our meeting, as we did not have a head of department available, although we had Chris, nor did we have samples for all 5 grades ranging from A to E. Quality assurance is an integral element of providing fair and equitable education to those students enrolled in Australian schools nationwide. The process allows teachers to make fair and defensible statements to their faculty colleagues, higher colleagues, and parents as they have evidence to support their markings. There is a requirement for educators to align with the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers in Standard 5.3, in which educators are to demonstrate understanding of assessment moderation and its application to support consistent and comparable judgments of learning. Alongside this, the quality assurance process allows educators to reflect upon and adjust the assessment students are to complete, as well as develop and document what the standardized responses from success are. From this, reasonable adjustments can be made to the assessment, learning and teaching processes. Through my participation in EDB150, marking and quality assurance in Week 9, and constant collaboration and conversation with my supervising teachers and the staff room teachers, I have come out of both experiences with a list of specific strategies I will implement into my future practice to ensure I am able to make consistent, fair, and defensible judgments of student learning. I plan to involve myself in as many marking and quality assurance processes and meetings as possible, while simultaneously seeking advice and guidance from educators in the field to gain confidence for future marking and quality assurance meetings. Additionally, whilst on professional experience, I was involved in a PD day in which cognitive verbs were introduced and explained thoroughly to all teachers. Within future practices, I intend to make and develop a list of cognitive verbs clearer to educators to prevent ambiguity in assessment, as if the educators are confused about what cognitive verbs actually mean, then the students will be too. By making these cognitive verbs more clear, through PD days and small workshops, educators will have a broad understanding and be able to present these cognitive verbs to students clearer, to aid student understanding and learning. I also plan to make an open, clear environment for all educators during quality assurance meetings, which links back to the establishing expectations in quality assurance and professional conduct and respect. As aforementioned, I intend on bringing and developing standard responses for A to E grades and creating these into portfolios for myself and other new educators or pre-service teachers to refer to when experiencing trouble differentiating a grade.